A lot of people come to me and ask me, why are you the way that you are? Why are you so aggressive in dealing with things that you don't think are right? To illustrate that a little bit better, I want to tell you a bit of a story. Some friends and I went to a bar about a year ago. We were looking to do some outreach, if you want to call it that, because honestly we got a little bit too tired of going to church after church looking for people who wanted to hear good news about how good Jesus is, but only finding a bunch of control and manipulation. More than anything, we were just looking to encounter real people. We weren't looking for people who thought that they were perfect. Honestly, we were looking for the kind of people that Jesus spent most of his time hanging out with. So we're at this bar, right? And we walk in, and there's all these people that just turn and look at us because right away we knew that we didn't fit in, and they knew it more than we did. Here's these 4 or 5 white young guys walking into this bar, and this place is full of people who could easily be our parents or our grandparents, and they are drunk. So we go and sit down at the bar and start talking to the bartender, and I ask her one question. It's a question that I had been pondering on for a while, and one that I had been using to engage with people who didn't necessarily think or believe like I did. But I wanted to ask her this question because the answer that people give to this question never ceases to blow my mind. But this was the first time that I had asked this question that it really dramatically impacted the rest of my life. I asked her, what comes to your mind when you think of the person of Jesus Christ? Immediately she kind of freaked out a little bit and was like, no dude, you can't talk about that in my bar. Religion belongs outside those doors, and if you and your friends are going to come in here and start proselytizing, then that's where you need to go. I leaned in really quick and I said, no, you don't understand. I'm not talking about the religion of Christianity. I'm not talking about the organized structure, the system, that building that people go to on Sundays. I'm talking about the person of Jesus Christ. What comes to your mind when you think of that man? She immediately took a step backwards, kind of narrowed her eyes, but then leaned forward and put her arms up on the bar like this, and looked around, kind of quiet like. She goes, are you f***ing with me? I couldn't help but laugh. I just said, no, I'm really not. I'm honestly interested. What comes to your mind when you think of Jesus the person? What she said next totally changed everything for me. It changed every perception that I had of sinners that I grew up with in church. And her answer to that question is one of the reasons that I am so intense and so passionate about getting the good news of Christ out to people who've never set foot in a church or who have set foot in a church and have been so frustrated and burnt out that they end up leaving. She looks me right in the eye and she says, have you ever had a dream where there's this person who you can't quite see their face, but you feel really safe and peaceful around them and you want to spend as much time next to them as you can? I nodded slightly, but then I just kind of let her keep talking. She looks around one more time and she looks me back right in the face and says, that's Jesus. Needless to say, I about fell off the bar stool because it gave me such a picture of the revelation of the love and compassion of Jesus, that this person, this sinner that had been thrown out of so many churches just for asking questions and challenging the status quo, this person that other people would write off and say, surely the judgment of God's coming on you because you're a bartender and you're helping people feed their addictions. But right in the midst of that place where a lot of other people would just say, you know what, God's not there, I could see it in her eyes. She knows Christ. And it changed everything for me. I followed up with a question that I normally ask after I ask that first question. And I said to her, okay, that's a great answer. What comes to your mind when you think of organized religion and the religion of Christianity today? Guys, she totally flipped out. She got so angry, she got so frustrated just like that. She starts going on and on about how they're judgmental, they're hypocrites, they're powerless, they're loveless, they have no compassion, that they don't even believe their own book. She went on and on about her ex-boyfriend used to say he was a Christian, but he treated her like crap. And as she stood there talking about all these terrible experiences that she had with people who professed to be Christians, my heart started to break. Because here was this person who had a legitimate understanding of the goodness of God and the love of Christ. Yet the example that she saw in his people was such a polar opposite for what she knows of Jesus. And she hardened her heart and walked away from him. Guys, That's the reason that I'm as intense as I am. Because in that moment, she realized that it wasn't Jesus that she was angry at. It wasn't God that she was offended at. It was the hypocrisy of the people who professed to know him. We hung out at that bar a couple more times after that, and every single time we went in, she waved at us, she was friendly, she gave us free food, she introduced us to all her friends that would come into the bar. And the crazy thing about it, guys, is she treated us exactly the same way the sinners treated Jesus in the Bible. She treated us with love, with honor, with respect, because she knew that we weren't there to judge her and tell her how she's supposed to live her life. She knew that we weren't there to try and get her to come to our church building or something, or pray a prayer with us. She knew that we were there for one reason and one reason only, to demonstrate life and love through the person of Christ, and to acknowledge that she is someone who knows him, regardless of what other people might think. I'm pretty sure that the people who were watching Jesus die on the cross had no idea whatsoever that the man who died right next to him would see Jesus in paradise that same day. That guy never prayed a sinner's prayer. He never confessed his sins. He never even repented by today's standards. All he did was look to Jesus and believed on him in his heart. I'm putting this out not to point a finger and not to say that I'm better than you or that I have some deeper revelation of the love of God or to tell you how to live your life as a Christian. I put this video out just to offer you perspective, that things are not always as they seem. And while a lot of people who will see this think that I'm just an angry, intense, rough around the edges guy, in some senses they're right. I am angry about the hypocrisy that I see in the church because I've seen the results of it. I've seen the heartache that it causes people. Those are the people that come to us. Am I intense about a lot of things? Yes, absolutely. I think that if we're going to live this life one time, we better live it well. And I really believe what I preach, so that's why I'm intense. But more than that, I'm intense because I love people. I'm intense because I've been in the trenches. I'm intense because I've seen the fruit of the bad mindsets that we challenge. And guys, it's killing people. Maybe not physically right away, but certainly emotionally, certainly mentally, and definitely spiritually. Because there are people all over the world, just like that bartender, who deep down know who Jesus is, but because she's never experienced true, unconditional love from someone who professes to be a Christian, she hardens her heart and walks away. So I'm just asking you guys, take a deeper look at the people around you. Take the blinders off of your eyes whenever you're in Starbucks or walking through the grocery store and you see somebody that initial thought is, oh, they're a sinner. Don't treat people like that, because Jesus certainly didn't treat you that way. It's not our job to try and figure out who's saved and who isn't. What our responsibility is to demonstrate the unconditional love and power and grace of God to everyone that we meet. So what are you waiting for?